So I'll call to order the International Falls Cooch County Airport Commission regular meeting of October 29th, 2025. And the first order of business is public comment. Anything you guys have
I
to
just
say?
came to hear the building study in the transient hangar.
Okay. Move on to minutes of the September 24th meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
Have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion on it? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Financial statement for October 29th. Any questions for Kyra on that? Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make it.
We have a motion. Is there a second? And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Financials are approved. And on to the engineer's report.
You guys are wasting no time this morning.
Right on.
I want to hand these out.
Morning, Casey.
Hi, good morning.
I guess you're up.
Morning, Casey.
All right.
You want to jump right into it, or should we cover the other items first?
I'm going to read the other items. Yes.
While everybody's kind of processing that information, we'll go through our other updates that are in the memo in your packet.
All right, so the GA apron reconstruction and runway 422 taxiway connector rehab, the project is officially substantially complete. So that's great. They have a few minor punch list items that we're watching and will reevaluate in the spring if they need to complete. So we will hold retainage for them until those are confirmed and approved.
Okay.
But I believe the pay application number 6 for KGM contractors in the amount of $370,437.91 was in the financials already.
Right on.
Any questions on that project? Good. All right.
It looks good.
It looks good and it went
Looks
pretty
real
smooth,
good.
so no complaints. The equipment acquisition, so updates on that, the loader. We're still waiting on the plow. We thought the delivery was going to be in December, but I think it might be being made in December.
I think that's more accurate for the.
Yeah.
I believe they're being a little more honest, though. Maybe, yeah.
So I don't think we will see that one until late winter.
Late winter. I'm guessing it'll be a spring model. Yeah, I'm just guessing.
2 years?
Yeah.
Only 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yep.
Yeah. The aircraft de-icing equipment was received though, so that's great. That one had a pay application that was approved in the financials for $324,116.65, and that is final. So that's with
All
everything
done.
for that.
Good.
That equipment received, good to go, working well.
Right. Yeah. Looking good.
Good, awesome. Everyone's trained.
Huh?
Everyone's trained.
No.
Trained 4 more
Well, I was
last
in the bucket, but I didn't get to move it.
Yeah, we'll get you up there.
We did 4 more last night, so
Yeah.
Okay.
we're getting there.
Any questions on the equipment acquisition? All right. Brief updates on the electric gate, the runway 1331 reconstruction of phase 4 and the beacon replacement. All of those designs will begin this winter. With phase 4, there is survey scheduled to happen this week. Our survey crew will be out here getting all of the items we need for the survey for phase 4, as well as the RSA inventory items that are part of the Department 39 inspection requests from that in spring. So
Good.
we'll get those completed and get that all finalized and get the RSA survey to them. And then borings will follow probably sometime in late November for
Okay.
that payment. Any questions on those? Okay. For the state projects this year, the terminal improvement project, which is the security system for the terminal, Brothers Fire and Security, they are still waiting on a couple of parts. If things get there when they're supposed to, then the project will begin probably in the next couple of weeks. So we're really waiting on a couple of, they don't want to begin it and not be able to just be up and running. So
Sure.
there's a couple of items left that they have to receive. Once they have everything, they'll come up. A few things were delayed, so
Okay, sounds good.
yeah. And I believe the doors, Carrie did already look at those.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, ordered a couple replacement parts and
Sure.
fix that up. Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right. The pickup truck and plow that has been ordered, it's going to be built next week. So we can expect delivery in November.
Yeah.
I saw that the other one is not operational right now.
Now we're putting, yeah, it's operating, but we've got it jerry rigged. Today we're trying to make it work. So.
So hopefully we don't get any snow before the new one gets
Truthfully, we'll see.
All right.
The experts don't seem to be able to fix it, so we're going to fix it.
It is a Ford.
It's a, yeah,
As he's wearing a Chevrolet hat.
it's true.
All right, jumping to the 2026 CIP items. So we do have that. I'll just briefly go through them because we've all discussed these before. But the electric gate installation, we have the design happening for that this winter. There is a TSA letter that for recommendation for safety and security for one of the gates that we are working on getting. We're working with the local TSA team to get that just for justification for that second automatic gate.
Okay.
We have phase 4 that's design, and we'll also have a reimbursable agreement along with it, which is essentially working with the FAA to work on their equipment. So there's quite a few FAA-owned equipment in the phase 4 area, including the PAPIs and the Malzer bar, I believe, and maybe some other wires that we are unaware of yet. We have to have a discovery meeting on it, but that will also be included with that project, and
Very good.
a lot of nice meetings.
Yes, always.
The ASOS critical area obstruction removal, this is, the ASOS is the plans that are being developed by MnDOT, and Thor's been working with that team, but we will be removing any of the obstructions in that area, that is in that clearance area. So we'll have that project next spring probably. Transient hangar design and construction, I think maybe you have.
Yeah, I think we're, this building area study that we'll be sharing more information on here in a moment will kind of lead to that discussion, but that's
Sure.
kind of on the track to build a storage hangar for the airport for either based or transient aircraft. So we'll talk about that here in a moment.
Very good.
And then the final item is the beacon replacement that we already discussed. And then upcoming meeting dates, we have the FAA MnDOT coordination meeting set for November 6th at 2 p.m.
Very
It's
good.
the monthly meeting we have with FAA. I don't know exactly if that will happen, but we'll keep it on the calendar and see what they say.
And if I may add two things. One is the reimbursable agreement. So as Chelsea mentioned, that's the FAA making an agreement with the Airport Commission. As you'd expect, they're all on furlough now with the government shutdown, so that office has been dark here for about, I think, 28 days we're on. So we're kind of navigating that to find out how that process works, but we will need that agreement to be included as part of the design. So just kind of tracking that. Hopefully it won't go much longer, but we're just tracking that. And I think the other one, this is kind of an audible here that I'd like to bring up, is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. So the International Falls Airport has a program that meets the requirements of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. I forget what statute it is. It's a federal provision that since you, as an airport commission, receive federal money, you have to meet all these federal provisions. The new administration has made substantial changes to the DBE program, which kind of affects how you implement your program. We typically handle that for you. When you submit for a project design for bids, a contractor has to have, I don't know, say 7% of a DBE of company participation. The new administration has basically said that all the goals are 0% until there's proof that a company has been disadvantaged. So there's a little bit of a test that has to happen before a company can claim that they're disadvantaged. In the near term, the Department of Transportation is saying that there are no goals until we figure out more information. Did I summarize that probably?
Yeah, what each state is being required to do, each state has their own way that they certify DBE firms. Every state now has to develop a whole new way to certify firms. So there are no DBEs anywhere in the country right now. And then as soon as states start redeveloping a program and have a program, then federal grant recipients can reevaluate what would be the appropriate goal. It won't be zero forever unless additional rules change, but that's kind of where we're at.
So it typically won't affect you. I think it's maybe just something aware of, as you manage a DBE program for the airport, and it's been advertised and it might be on the website and different things. So just something to be aware of.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Does that have anything to do with our percentage rate,
Funding rate?
our funding rate? Okay.
Good question. Yeah.
Okay, those are my items.
All right,
All right. Well, I can give an overview, I'm gonna scoot up here actually, of this was the building area planning study that we did and wrapped up in 2022. And after we did all the planning for the runway, kind of the airport commission knew that you wanted to look at the building area next. After you're kind of done with the runway stuff, it'd be time to look at things around the building area. So that was the parking lot, hangars, and that was kind of the focus of this study. So I'll kind of go through kind of what was the conclusion and recommendations of the study and kind of what the commission wanted to move forward with at that time. Doesn't mean you can't change it at any time. The front page that I'm looking at, which is the one with the little charts on it, shows these little circle charts are showing the based aircraft at the airport. Both at the one on the left is the time when we did the study, so that was kind of existing conditions baseline, and then the one on the right was a forecasted number of based aircraft for like a 20-year forecast, so 2041 in that example. So at the time we did the study, there were 28 Group 1 aircraft, and I'll touch on that in a minute, and then 1 Group 2, so 29 total aircraft that considered themselves based here at the airport. The FAA categorizes aircraft size in different ways. When we start to think about hangar needs and the needs for taxiways and aprons for how an aircraft needs to move around those spaces, a lot of times we're planning it based off of the wingspan of an aircraft. So obviously wider wingspan aircraft are going to need things to be further away than a smaller wingspan aircraft. So they have a numbered grouping. So Group 1 is the smallest size of aircraft. There's kind of an example picture here of a 172. Group 2 is the next larger size, and that would be an example, could be a King Air. It also could be a lot of the small and mid-size business jets that you see here are also Group 2. So that's kind of your typical critical mass user here at the airport. It doesn't mean you don't get larger aircraft, but those are kind of who historically have been based here at the airport that live here full time. So for the larger aircraft, the forecast was kind of going from 1 of those larger wingspan aircraft up to potentially 3 in the 20-year time period. The base aircraft forecasts are a little squishy because you don't know who's going to want to come, and it's kind of that can vary quite a bit. So that was the forecast that was developed. The image right below those charts, I'll maybe first cover that. When you think of your airport, you have a ton of land, but unfortunately a lot of it isn't actually developable because it has a lot of protected spaces around the runways and taxiways. So what this is showing, all of the red shaded areas are some type of airfield safety area. So those are all that red area, kind of dark orange, is not an area that can be developed for hangars or other similar types of purposes. So that area is not available. On this, it's also showing the general location of wetlands around the airport. And then the purple is kind of the future development that was identified in the planning study, and then I'll kind of walk through that. And then you can see on this figure too, there's a black line, that's the airport property boundary. Any questions on any of that so far? All right. So this kind of middle section here that talks about FAA funding requirements for hangars. I know we've talked about this in the past, and this is actually a new piece of information since we did the study. So when we did the study, there was no funding source for hangars for an airport like International Falls. So once you have 10,000 enplanements, you are no longer eligible to use FAA money for a revenue generating project. So it could be hangar, fuel farm, other revenue generating type activities. So a small airport like Baudette, they can use their FAA money to build a revenue generating hangar. Here, that was never an option until the infrastructure bill. That was a unique opportunity that came for airports in 23. Is that right? The first year? 22. 22 was the first year. So with the infrastructure bill, that opened the door and said, airports, you're going to get X dollars per year, just like you do in the regular FAA program. But this money has a few additional types of projects you can spend it on. So you can do revenue generating hangars. So it's kind of a one-time unique opportunity. You don't have to use it on revenue generating projects. You can use it really on anything at the airport. Maybe not anything that's FAA eligible. But we are seeing commercial service airports take advantage of that opportunity because they've never had a funding source to do something that would generate revenue for the airport before. So that's kind of a unique opportunity. And then just touching on kind of the types of hangars that you typically see an airport of this size kind of pursue for a revenue generating opportunity. There's T hangars, that'd be kind of a multi-unit, kind of think of large mini storage for aircraft, the larger bays. So you could have a 4-unit T hangar, a 10-unit T hangar. A T hangar is just that there are entrances on both sides of a hangar. You can also have, a lot of times it's called a ranch style hangar, like maybe a 4-bay multi-unit that only has doors on one side. So just like your box hangars you have over there, but picture 3 units stuck together, kind of townhome style, if you will. So to build those types of hangars, the FAA does require proof that you have demand for filling that hangar. So they'd want to see a waiting list. Kind of varies on your FAA person what they're going to ask for, but we have seen some ask for signed letters of intent, and then a letter of intent agreement between the airport sponsor and the potential tenants. A larger hangar, like a Group 2 hangar, so this would accommodate the aircraft with the larger wingspan. So this would typically end up being like a large box-shaped hangar. For those, since they end up generating quite a bit more revenue and they're just slightly different, the FAA does require basically open and fair competition for the use of those hangars. So a lot of times what we'll see airports do is do the RFP process, kind of similar to what you guys have opted to do, where you solicit interest from different, could be individuals, could be businesses. It really could be private or just a private user or a business. It doesn't have to be a certain type of user. The airport or the FAA basically doesn't want an airport sponsor to show kind of preferential opportunity to some tenants or some potential users, but not others. So on the far right, this is showing where a potential, it says transient hangar, but it could just be any large hangar. This could be a private based aircraft owner that might want to build a large hangar. It doesn't have to be transient. But the first alternative here on the top is right out through the window there on the apron. And this potentially could fit up to about 100-foot deep hangar and up to about 145 feet wide hangar. You could also do smaller. It doesn't have to be that big, but there is an opportunity for kind of the largest hangar in this location. It would require a little bit of removal of pavement in the parking lot and slight reconfiguration, but not significant, and then some fence realignment where the building would go. And then down below, the other alternative is over on the taxi lane. So if you look at the figure on the lower left, you'll see the two purple boxes kind of on the left side of the taxi lane over in the building area. This is showing that instead of two small boxes, you could do one big box hanger in that location. So that would fit about an 80 by 85 hanger, a little bit smaller than the other location, just since you're limited by wetlands in that area. So those were kind of the two locations that were honed in on for larger hangars in the planning study. We didn't, because there wasn't, didn't appear to be forecast for quite a bit more demand than that for larger aircraft hangars, and there wasn't an interest to do more than either the one on the apron or maybe a couple over in the building area. We didn't identify any other areas for large hangars at the time.
On that alternative one, the aircraft you have in there, is that a 700 or a 900? Or?
I think that's a 700 that's in there just for an example.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, that large hangar could fit multiple small aircraft. It could fit a large jet. It could really be used for different purposes. That size of hangar, depending on the tenant and kind of how they would want to use the space. Any other questions on that so far? So if you look at our based aircraft forecast, and they're really, the demand for hangars seemed to focus on a lot of the smaller aircraft for those that are going to be based here. So to accommodate those, if you flip your sheet over, this kind of shows a better zoom up of future hangar development that could occur along the taxiway, kind of between the taxiway and the county road. So shown in purple is potential taxi lanes that could be constructed along with box hangars. What's shown here is about a 50 by 50 hangar. This could also be a good location for a future multi-unit hangar if either the airport commission or a private entity ever wanted to build like a 4-bay or 6-bay multi-unit long hangar. They don't have to be box hangars as we have shown here. But there is this opportunity for smaller, kind of that group 1 wingspan aircraft to have hangars into the future. If we ever wanted to accommodate larger aircraft in this building area that's shown in purple, we really aren't able to with the current location of the county road. The buildings right now are limited in height, so even if you could build if the road wasn't there and you wanted to build a hangar in this spot, it's still, you're limited to such a low height, it's not going to make sense to put you can't get a larger aircraft in there due to the tail heights. You still have to push the hangar back further away from the runway in order to get the height that you would want, in addition to the size that you would want. But again, at the time we did the study, there didn't appear to be demand for additional hangars of that size. So that's why we didn't plan for anything larger in this area. I'll just touch real quick on a few of the other items, just because I think it's kind of fun to look back on all the stuff you've also accomplished over the last few years. The study really looked at this whole building area and kind of what should you do as you start to reconstruct pavements. So a lot of the recommendations that were outlined, you've really done in the last 2 years with all of your projects. So reconstructing taxiway Charlie 1, that's where the A is. That was just completed with the project Chelsea was talking about, as well as Bravo 1. That's the other connector on the north end of the crosswind runway. Reconstructing the general aviation apron, and then relocating and replacing the fuel farm, and then adding the new de-ice fluid storage tank, and then also the new light poles. So the study also helped really justify all of those items to the FAA, which you were able to received funding for in the last few years, which is good. One other, I mentioned on the left side of the sheet there, the purple hangers where it says F. This is kind of that example of you could build 2 small purple square hangers that are shown there, and those would be height limited to a certain. The one closest to the runway would be height limited, so probably a smaller aircraft. But if you wanted to accommodate a larger Group 2 small business jet type aircraft, that would be more that blue dashed square that's over, and you can kind of see it's pushed a little bit further away from the runway because you want to be able to accommodate a taller hangar door at that spot. So that's kind of the options that were developed in the study, kind of with the information and kind of demand that we knew of at the time for hangar space.
Could you share what DRL means? And just, I know you talked about it, but just specifically what that line means.
Yeah, so where it says 20-foot BRL, that's a building restriction line. So if where the runway is, there's kind of protected surfaces that come up from the runway. So as you get further away from the runway, you can have a taller building. As you're closer to the runway, you can have a shorter building. So an airport typically will set a line that it's not to say you can't build inside the line. It's just you're going to have something shorter, but it's just kind of that a baseline checkpoint for kind of height. So like at that line, you can't have anything taller than 20 feet. But as you move, incrementally, for every 7 feet you move away from the runway, you get to go up 1 foot. So a little bit of flex there.
And that's the peak of the building, so if you had so it's the highest point.
Yeah. Any other questions on kind of developable hangar space? So what's available now is kind of those purple boxes or one larger box on taxi lane Delta, and the open space that's labeled as G on this side for a potential hangar. So there are those existing sites that are not yet developed that could be developed. And then in the future, with additional infrastructure for taxi lanes, the purple areas could be developed for future hangars as well, but would require other taxi lane stuff first. Or anything to add from your perspective?
No, I
from the
think your
study?
presentation is very,
I think it's
very well
great.
done. Yeah, it's very educational. There's so much detail to it. There's so much planning. People don't realize, the background of all of it, and just the combination of, as an example, the safety areas and those invisible lines that we can or can't. Really overly simplified from my perspective. I look at this building. I just put in my mind the height of this building, where the location is. That's about it. This is maximum. We're as close as we can be with that height on the whole airport. And so, yeah, but the detail is very well done. A lot of effort went into this, and thank you. But it's very well presented. Yeah.
With word of mouth out there that we're looking at this, has there been any interest in any company interested in
Not
saying
that I'm
anything?
aware of at this time. No.
I didn't receive any proposals back for here.
I think what we have to do is send letters to SkyWest, Unify,
Sure.
and outfits like that, and see what they might be willing to spend.
Of course.
Because I talked to Randy last night and told him to get a hold of his Unify bosses, because we could use some of that space to get all of our equipment that's sitting outside. Looking at that size of that hangar, if we put it over here, there'd be plenty of room to put our equipment in over there. So, along with a 700, and there might be even other opportunities too.
Sure.
So. And I don't know about FedEx, UPS, and what they fly in here. They might at times want to be able to go in there to
Sure.
unload, load up. Chiron, any of the people that are interested in building hangars, I'm sure they're all the small size hangars that right?
Yeah, the larger of the smaller hangars, so, what are they? Besides that Wagner's hangar is there, I don't know.
This, yeah.
Recall what size.
A 50 by 50?
Yes, yeah, yep.
Let me address a question that was brought up at the previous meeting, and I don't know if I had my geography right, the way it was being described. I think it was maybe on the south part of the airport as a developable building area there. So if you look at the orange drawing there, I think the question was, is, why are we not evaluating hangars in that area? And really, I think, my recollection of the building study is, you look at the orange, and then you look at access to the available not orange area south of runway 1331. There would be plenty of infrastructure at the time. I think we evaluated that as cost prohibitive to develop that area into a building area. It's certainly something in your long-term plan that could be evaluated for future hangar growth, and I'm talking maybe kind of in the non-wetland area, the non-orange area down by 422. But when you're looking at access roads and different ways to get to that site, and then typically airports want to keep their building areas together and be able to serve vehicle access and utilities and different things that come from it. So I know that was addressed last meeting. I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, right now, there's no one knocking down the door to try and get in there, so.
And maybe if I, put some lens into kind of next steps, as Chelsea presented the CIP for 2026, on there was the design of a portion of these Project F, small hangars for the smaller airports. So connecting the taxiway Alpha, it would go up to, have a little access way and, potentially privately developed hangar opportunities for small hangars, 50 by 50 feet. What the conversation where it went then is like, well, maybe we should be building bigger hangars there. And then that brings into the, the relocation of County Road 108. So if you wanted bigger hangars there, that's where that conversation started, to see if there's developable space at that point. So there isn't much location for larger hangars. So you can see if you have those hangars, County Road 108 is in the way. But as we do in the near term, as we're designing hangars, do we go forward with smaller hangars, or is there something else that the commission desires to do with that space in long-term plans? So I think it's kind of the catch-22. You have the need today to build small hangars, but you also, looking out, you would have that need for larger hangars, but that would require an impact to County Road 108, which has its kind of pros and cons of what that does to the community. So,
If I may? Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, I'd like to just say that, if we have interest for the small hangars,
Mm-hmm.
that should be where we're focused on now.
Mhm.
I don't really foresee anything in the future for big hangars
Mhm.
until we get that one big one right over here and put that to use.
A thought just came to my mind. At other airports, I'm assuming the local aviation company, FBO, at times leases the space and works with the commission. And what comes to my mind right now, I'm thinking about the airline, but I'm also thinking about the cold weather testing. We have, every year we have tremendous interest in aircraft, but we don't have the storage facilities, the hangar facilities for them. So maybe that's something that I can get together with my folks and talk with the commission about as well. Is that possible? We can help all parties here and work both with the airlines and with cold weather testing and with us, the Anderson family, and see if we can't help. I'm just came by.
Right.
I don't know. See if the airline.
Yeah, we have to find what the interest is out there.
Sure.
You had
Go
Bell
ahead, Carol.
Helicopter here that one year, didn't you?
Many years.
Yep.
Yeah, 20 years. Yeah.
So I just want to clarify, the spaces in the hangar development F, those are the size hangars of the small hangars in the current hangar row. They're not the size of Wagner's or some of the larger ones. So the development is slated for the smaller hangars, which most of the people on the list are wanting the larger hangars.
Oh, the list is larger hangars.
Yes.
When you say larger, what do you mean larger?
The size of Wagner's, that's over there. So it'd be this, the one in the pink box, right there.
I want to say that's maybe 70 by 70.
Yeah.
I want to say,
I'm
yeah,
trying to blink on the side.
don't hold me to the number, 70, I think is the number.
I think that's correct, and
I
the other ones
think-
are 50 by 50, does that sound right?
Yeah, could be 70 by 75, but it's a square 70, it's
Yeah.
a 70 number. Okay.
And maybe just for clarity, the Wagner hangar has a Pilatus aircraft in there, which is a Group B aircraft, so that hangar size matches the aircraft that's in there. Sometimes people like to overbuild a little bit just to have a little extra space.
Yeah, you
So
can't build anything large enough.
Yeah, it's really just, acknowledging that, the footprint of the aircraft, that what they need is 50 by 50. What they want is additional space to maybe have other things.
Yeah, put their campers and.
Yeah, which
Other things.
technically is not allowed by the,
the.
yeah, there's FAA provisions that's not allowed, so, I think just keeping that in mind as well, that.
Well, I think we need more information, more study on that part.
Maybe one thing I'll add, if you look at the areas labeled F, there is always opportunity to start with some part of that for small aircraft, small hangars, and down the line, another area of it could be built to a bigger standard or to accommodate bigger aircraft. So you can envision you could do at some point, the first little bit here, a little taxi lane, maybe that accommodates only 5 hangars, and let those get built. They can be small. It doesn't mean that you can't pivot in the future and build the rest of it to accommodate bigger hangars. Because there are, a couple spaces over on the existing taxi lane that do accommodate those bigger hangar sizes.
I think we should maybe explain, so this larger hangar concept that we have, do you want to explain maybe like the ownership and like how it could be used? You want me to cover that? I'm just trying to think of
Okay,
just
yeah,
for clarity on
so
what the arrangement really would look like.
Yeah, so to use the FAA money on a hangar, whether it's a large hangar or a multi-unit small hangar, the FAA will require that the Airport Commission is the owner of the hangar. So the money goes towards publicly owned infrastructure. So the Airport Commission would own a large hangar. The Airport Commission would then find a tenant for the hangar. This can look different ways. A lot of times what we see is the airport, whoever the owner of the airport is, may lease the hangar to one entity. I'll give you an example. Duluth is building a hangar kind of like this. They're actually leasing it directly to LifeLink. LifeLink is going to operate their aeromedical flight program for Duluth out of that hangar. So they lease it to one company. They pay the lease. It's only their use, and that's how they're doing that arrangement. There can be a different kind of arrangement where maybe an FBO is the lease, is going to lease the hangar. The FBO then would operate that hangar, and they could have based aircraft in there that they're leasing little spaces to. They could have transient aircraft as aircraft come and want to have an overnight in a hangar. The FBO would pay the Airport Commission, and then the FBO would be operating the hangar and earning their own revenue on how they operate, whether it's however they choose to lease or operate that hangar. Another, I would say like maybe slightly clunkier situation is you could have an airport that owns a large hangar and the airport is leasing to, say, 4 different planes that want to be in there, but then you're kind of moving planes in and out. And that's maybe less desirable by most airport owners or sponsors. Trying to think of another example that we're seeing.
I was thinking Burnett was a good example of the second scenario. So that's the FBO leases, so they have a 4 bay hangar, so large kind of ranch style hangar. They have, I think, 2 of the bays leased out to individuals. So the airport commission owns the building. They lease out 2 bays to people that, just want to store their aircraft there for 12 months at a time, and the lease. The other 2 bays are owned by the FBO, and then the FBO actually moves aircraft in and out as transient aircraft come, and they have a negotiated agreement with the airport commission that, aircraft of certain size get this much money, so the airport commission receives revenue on, say a King Air needs an overnight, it's $100. And then the FBO would charge $200, so they make $100, the airport commission makes $100, I'm just using arbitrary numbers here. So that's kind of the arrangement that they have. So there's 2 ways that the FBO payment can work. One would be that, the FBO just makes a lease payment and, they operate the lease. Another one could be on activity, a percent of activity or something like that. So that's outside of our wheelhouse. That's really getting into financial modeling and how you're going to receive revenue on a hangar, kind of the business planning element of it. But there's lots of different ways that it works. Ultimately the FAA wants to see that you as an airport commission are making revenue, receiving revenue for the FAA building. And that's really about it. And you're seeing more activity, which generates more fuel sales, which gives you more revenue. It's kind of that kind of spiral effect of increased activity at an airport.
Thank you.
I think maybe it's important to add to that's what that RFQ or RFP process is for, and the monies from the FAA they won't do it unless that RFQ, unless there is that plan, correct?
And you have to competitively seek interested parties, yeah, or there has to be open competition. You have to have, one of your grant assurances when you receive FAA money, you're agreeing to economic non-discrimination, and how that shows up in this case is they want to see that there's fair and open opportunity for any interested parties to express interest in leasing this type of infrastructure from the airport. There's not preferential treatment towards certain users.
But if no one responds to the RFQ,
I think the challenge is showing, you have to show the justification and that you have demand, and so you need to have somebody, when you go to the FAA to say we want to build this, you have to have that documented demand. So I think that's the challenge.
Interesting.
Well, you'd want that though too, so you know that you've got some revenue coming in rather than sitting on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, hangars are expensive, and even though you have really generous participation from the FAA and the state, so your participation shares, maybe depending on the year, 2.5% or 5%. That still adds up to a lot of money on a multi-million-dollar hangar. So you want to know that your local share will be recouped over time at a minimum. So.
All right.
Other questions?
Any questions from that?
That was my question, what is the cost for the airport commission here? Do you know that at all? What percentage, or is there not, or is it just none?
No, there would be a contribution required from the airport. It depends on, the funding rates can vary a little bit year to year, but typically the local share of a project would be as low as 2.5%, but it could also be 5%. Just depends on the year and how the funding is allocated that year.
Anyone else have anything? Thank you very much.
Well
Thank
done.
you, guys.
Very well
done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Most importantly, you're getting things checked off the list.
Yeah.
A bit of progress on that.
On the meeting.
Food for thought, that's for sure.
For sure, thank you.
Anything else from the engineers?
No?
Thank you.
Thanks for allowing us to present.
Old business.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as you can see, we've made progress on the entry sign. Credit to the Swenson operation. Working with them right now to change the color of the lettering a bit, make sure we get a good contrast. The sign's a bit darker than the last sign, and so, in fact, that's on my list to contact them today, make sure we keep pushing on that. But I'm assuming in the next week or so we'll have the letters back up, and so it looks good. I think it looks really good. And thanks for Walt for his input on the design, the construction, and the ideas of base or no base, or the So yeah, it's good. I think it turned out very well.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
very much.
that's a great little thing we got done. If I may continue on to slide into business there.
They're going to new business with the jet.
Thank you. Here we go. I'm trying to think. We built the terminal 7 or 8 years ago. Time, I have no memory of that. It's all blur.
Carrie,
Every day.
What year did we build this?
8 years?
17?
Yeah.
17. Okay.
Yeah. And cut to the chase. The jet bridge has been deeply subpar from day one. And we have welded and bent and turned and plated and wires and computers and switches and buttons. And it has never operated correctly from day one. And of course, a low bid situation, etc. And if a little memory flash here for the commission, that discussion actually came up in the design phase, and we had done some research about other airports, and frankly, even though it was shared that the other airports were having problems with this particular make of bridge.
Must be why they went out of business.
That's exactly what happened. And even though the other airports were having major issues with this particular brand, et cetera, I can keep whining. I'll stop. Let's just go with it. It as advertised. It's not good.
Yeah.
So today, literally today, or as of last week, as folks involved with the airline operations. We're running out of parts. We can't get parts. Right now we've bypassed a whole bunch of things in the computer system. Thank God for Jeremiah McCormick, very, very talented. I say proudly between Jeremiah and my J. Keeney, two very talented men, and it is literally piecemealed together at this point. It's only getting worse. It's only going to continue to get worse. In the past, I think, and when Sean steps back in, we had discussed working with the FAA in the details of literally funding a new jet bridge. And I'm not sure how we pull the trigger on that or how we push on that a bit harder. The documentation, the performance speaks for itself. It's a crapshoot every time the airline personnel uses it. It's a crapshoot. It's yeah.
Well, I just think we have to have SCH dig into it and find out what the new one's going to cost, what part of that the FAA will fund, and then it'll be up to us to decide what we want to do. And I wonder, because we got to have that. If we don't have a jet bridge,
right,
that eliminates Sun Country flights.
Yeah. So you got to have it.
You have to have the jet bridge in order for like.
Well, that was an example last week.
One that came in, and the day before or that morning, the jet bridge was down.
Right.
And we got it going, so we were able to get that flight in and out of here. But if that jet bridge wasn't working,
and to tell the group what happened there in that particular case, the people had already departed. In the meantime, the jet bridge broke down. We were using the staircase on the CRJs to get the people on and off the airline schedule on their flights. In the meantime, we have folks that I get home from Nevada, got to come back home to National Falls, and we don't have a jet bridge. They can't get out here. Right. So the day before and all night into the morning, Randy was justifiably concerned, and I said, Randy, I'm going to give you a cut time here. When we think we can get it. I'll be honest with you, we can't. Because obviously then you need to change up aircraft and different ways to get people here. Yeah. We had talked with some folks about getting it, literally renting, borrowing, stealing a staircase from Hibbing, Bemidji, Duluth, Lowboyd up here.
Wow.
Call Speedy Gonzalez Roach here and go and get it.
I was just going to bring up. We should have them look and see what a good staircase would cost us to have as a backup.
Because we're getting
basically that's what they use in Laughlin is they just have a staircase there that they roll up to the plane and so they don't have a jet bridge there.
Right. Sean, we're picking up the conversation about where we are on the jet bridge, and literally as we speak, it's piecemeal together. We're a lot of parts. You know the story, and I know in the past the group had talked about addressing the SFA and asking them, what would it take for us to get a new jet bridge? This company is out of business. Parts availability is virtually nil. I would think, would hope that the FAA would see that as, that's a pretty viable case in itself that, you can't support it. What's your thoughts, please?
I think, when we approached the FAA the last time, it was a different program manager, so there's always hope in transition. So,
You're so nice. He's being very nice. But
what they requested the last time was, proof that the passenger boarding bridge was maintained properly, and I think we had that inspection done. So
Yeah.
we have that report. And then the second thing is just a documented case of failure. And I think the more, if you're telling the story right, the FAA, let me back up one step. I think it's 15 years for a passenger boarding bridge.
15 or 20.
There's a useful life that the FAA requires that piece of equipment to be in service for their investment. So they will not fund another one until that useful life has been exceeded. We are still within that useful life, but obviously things aren't going well with the company that went out of service, and then there's no warranty program for that equipment. There's no parts for that equipment. So there's a story being built. And then multiple outages, the impact to the flying community, ADA, accessibility concerns. I think we can cobble together a story that really reflects the challenges you are facing to say FAA. What's the is there an exception that we can have to fund this project sooner than that minimum useful life of 15 or 20 years? So I think it's something we would take to the FAA. We have that list of CIP projects. Whether it's the stairs as a backup, I think that should be eligible. Can't imagine it wouldn't be. We'd have to look into that, but that could be an eligible project, and the new boarding bridge certainly would be an eligible project as well. What you would see then, if that project is moved forward in the CIP, that you may not have enough funding for some of these other projects that you have, which that's all about priorities and what's the most important concern. I'm talking maybe specifically about the hangar development along County Road 108, that might have to delay a year in order to get more of these safety critical needs taken care of. So I think it's just balancing that, but it's a conversation with the FAA.
I would encourage writing, literally having a log of the issues, even for sure out of service, but even that you had to spend 4 hours fixing it before the flight got here, all of that in writing, so that you can have that when we're ready to show it to the FAA.
Yeah, cost documentation, new parts, downtime, how long was it down, where the maintenance crews had to come in to repair it, things like that.
And there is no, and there isn't this 1-800 jet bridge repair team that you call, and they just come up and they've got the nice truck, a nice Snap-on truck or a KW truck, CAT truck.
Plus, there's no parts.
There's no parts.
Yep.
And we know that every time there's a power outage,
that's a very interesting part of your folks.
every time there's a power outage,
you might as well.
you have to come and fix it.
Yeah, it's incredible. If we get a power glitch, overly simplified, there's some systems in the terminal on the airport we have to manually reset, but very few. They basically are 95% automatic. That baby, when the power glitches, it's done.
Right.
Done. Now, how and why they designed it that way, I can't tell you. But literally, you're just about reprogramming the computers. You're going back in there. It's absurd. Right. And you have to pull the power, reboot, turn it back on. It's fascinating. But it's something that I would highly recommend we pursue as a new unit.
I agree. We need to start looking at it right now.
Yeah.
You need a motion?
Just so that we know where we're at so far as getting a new one if possible and what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
You need a motion?
I would think probably
We need to get jacking on it.
to get them working on it. So I hear
That's
a
an
motion.
airport term.
I hear a motion.
Yeah.
Is there a second to have SCH explore the new jet bridge and the stairway
Sure.
costs?
And Thor, can we connect with you or
Of course.
on that log and
Yeah, we
kind of
can.
recreating
Yeah.
kind of what we have? I
Yeah,
think that's
absolutely.
That's the biggest
And
piece of this whole.
do we want to reach out to the Queen, to Lindsay, and kind of start at the top? We want to work the way
I
up or
would
down.
suggest probably with Jeremy.
With Jeremy, start there.
Yeah, start there. I don't know when our next meeting, November 6th, is that? So if we can have our story by then, I think that'd be a good time to hear.
Sure.
Lindsay typically attends those, so she would hear.
Yep.
But I think approaching Jeremy would be at least the first step.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move forward with that. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
And Chelsea.
Continue.
Continue.
Thank you. Let's see. Working with Chelsea and with the Minnesota State bid list on a new quote-unquote large mower. Our current large mower is 22, 20, I can't remember what it's 20, it's a long time. It's been used and abused. Mow every day, all day in the summertime. Anyway, the point is that there's a little bit of complexity in writing the new spec for the new mower, because just like our old large mower, if you notice, it has very large high flotation tires on it because there's such a high percentage of wetlands out there. And what people, a lot of folks ask us about, mowing, why aren't you out there mowing? Well, we can't because it's wet, and because the FAA spec and because of the conditions for the field, we can't run it at all, okay? Because when the 139 inspector shows up and we literally drive out there, they look and they go like, hey man, these ruts are 2 inches deep, you can't, okay, cool. So it costs you a fortune. You would never catch up, So, without getting into too much detail and taking up too much time, the last mower was the TV140 New Holland Ford. Very fine piece of equipment. Worked with Diamond Mowers, and that was the first one that was spec'd that we probably got involved in design with the larger tires and the larger wheels, and up to that point, the ones that have been sold in the country had standard quote standard size tires on it. That evolved into they sold many of those units, and now they unfortunately no longer make the unit. So we're looking at a 4-wheel drive standard type of a tractor, 2 flail wings on the side, 1 flail wing in the back, 22 feet of cut like we have now, and but with large tires. What we're running into is we believe we can spec the large tires and the large wheels, but we have a horsepower issue, and so I'm working with Diamond Mowers, and they're working with, I'm assuming, JD, and we're coming up with a larger tractor. And of course, that's going to be an interesting discussion with the folks on the funding side with Midnight Aeronautics on, okay, this is a hybrid in their eyes, I'm assuming. It's off the state bid list, but it's not, because it's a larger horsepower tractor that they've never put this mower on before. So we're working on that. I think the plan is at this point is that to plead our case to Midnight Aeronautics is that yes, it's off the state bid list plus, but the plus portion of that equation is we need the horsepower and we need the larger tires. So right. We'll obviously keep you informed on that. And just like I say with a great sense of pride, with all of our equipment on the airport, we run them till they die. We're not long on equipment, I promise you. We run them right to the end. So working on that this time. On that note, our quote-unquote, our old snowblower, our Stuart Stevenson snowblower, 1200 SS snowblower, we have that in storage this time. I believe I'll have to look in my files, but I think that's a 96 model, which dates me, and we've kept it for a backup. We have not ever used it for a backup. We've always been successful with Oshkosh and Jeremiah and Haney keeping our current blower running. So I would recommend that we sell that unit. I've done a little research, probably anywhere between 60 and 75,000 on the market that's out there. Tough to get parts for it. There's very little support for it. And to the question, do SCH remind me? Let's just say hypothetically it's a $75,000 because of the age of the unit. The airport commission can retain all those monies. Correct? Is the FAA? I can't remember. They changed the rules. That's what I'm asking. At one time, they were very restrictive on what you could do with those monies. You couldn't roll it back into your next equipment on a 95.5. Okay. Yeah. So where are we at on that? Remind me, please.
Anybody remember?
It's $1 million question, or it's a $75,000 question. Yeah.
I want to say that if it was funded with FA funds.
It was original. That's correct. And at that time, it was really a great deal. Remember that we thought we were doing great. We were at 70. We were 80-20 or 70-30 then.
I don't remember.
I can't remember. And now we're at 2%, right? 2.5.
Old, I'd have to look. I don't know if there's an age restriction. I know typically if you sell FA equipment, regardless of age, that is essentially FA money, and that would come off your next SRE grant. but this might have a little bit of nuance since it's old. What year was?
96, I
Yeah,
believe,
1996,
which makes it how many years old? It's, what's the number?
30.
30 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
30 next year.
that's crazy.
Well, either way, we should get rid of it.
I agree. And the money's not gonna go to waste
Yeah.
either
No,
way,
no, it
obviously.
won't go to waste.
No, we're not throwing the money away. I mean,
No.
we use it on the FA side, but
Right.
Yep, yep. And then I know there's the $5,000, I think that's the limit, that you can sell it for $5,000 and pocket $5,000 and not have any impacts to future grants. You can donate it to another airport that has the FA obligated airport. That's fine, but I think if you sell it, I don't know. I'll look at it, I'll prepare.
I'm sorry for the question because it's so complex.
No, it comes up.
I'm so glad you guys don't remember it. Good.
It comes up so
Yeah.
often that, but there's some nuances there.
Okay.
Well, we'll get that figured out and
Okay.
go from there.
Thank you. Last but not least, wanted to compliment Kyra and you speaking at Friday's event for Bob Anderson's terminal naming. I thought it was a very nice event. I thought it was very well done, very well attended. Stauber's representative.
Family
from,
sure appreciate it.
Yeah, family sure, justifiably so. I just said that I thought it went really, really well.
Yes.
Thank you, and you did very well. And Kyra, thank you for setting that up and organizing that. So yeah, but other than that, getting ready for winter and
There we
continue
go,
on.
right?
Thank you.
Kyra, what do you have?
Nothing. She's good. Yeah.
Employments in the packets for September. Employments were up again for the month over last year, so that was good to see. I received a request from Kathy Kirchner on their hangar and the sale of it. The sale did go through on Monday, and the new owner, Tom Brocky, is requesting to have a lease put in place for that hangar. And so I'll just need the approval for getting that new hangar in place with him.
Is there a motion?
I'll make one.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second to move forward with the new leaseholder. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Right, I'll get that in order. KGHS sent over some sponsorship opportunities for the winter months. A couple of them that the Airport Commission has done in the past is the Bronco Sports during the winter and the Minnesota Wild. So those would be the two that I would recommend.
Is that in the budget?
Yes, they would be. We're currently doing the noon news, which is something that has been done for a very long time, and the wild has been done. So those should be okay.
What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion, let's do them too.
We have a motion to go with the two, Kyra.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion carried.
And then I did not hear back from Northland on a quote for the chairs, so I will follow up with that again. But I did receive a cost estimate from Adam McIntyre to do some touch-up painting in the terminal, particularly this hallway here. If you walk out there, you'll see there's a lot of stuffs on the wall. And the quote also includes a chair rail, so hopefully that we can eliminate some of the stuffs in the future. The cost for repainting and doing all of that and the chair rail, which includes all the labor and materials for $4,500 and $4,560.
We have money in the budget.
I can double check that, but I believe there should be some funds left in our building maintenance piece for that.
that eliminate the scratches from people hitting them with bags and wheelchairs and,
Yep, and a lot of it is, yeah, I mean, you can see right here how awful
yep.
it is. I mean, that's just one example, and it's that whole hallway. This side of the hallway isn't so bad because it's got the fabric wallpaper, kind of like that wall there. So it's not, you don't see any of that, but the painted walls are very, they look awful.
Well, is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. And a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything else?
That is pretty much all I have. I am working with somebody on potential car rental, so hopefully I'll have more on that at next meeting.
Very good. And next meeting.
You didn't forget.
I'm getting better.
It's getting close to year end too.
Yeah.
November 26th,
November 26th.
is that where, it's the day before Thanksgiving.
I was gonna
Is that
say,
where-
that's gotta be close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Works.
Perfect with me.
Thank you.
Very good. Got it in there.
That's
We're adjourned.
Thank you.